Imagine you want to capture an entire sunset with a camera, but you don't want to stare at it the whole time. So you decide to write an automated program that keeps taking photos until the sky brightness drops below 55, 100 byte. But how do we write this? Let's assume we have a function called find_measure_brightness that can measure the current brightness of the sky. If we only use andava statement, there's a problem. The program will check the condition only phi onset take at most one photo and fail to capture the whole process. What if we use alpha for loop to repeatedly run the for check that would run the check? Say 400 times, which sounds better. But computers run extremely fast, and even 100 iterations may still finish long before the sunset is over. The real problem here is that we don't know for how many times c. The condition needs to be checked before it becomes false. But that's okay. The while loop comes to the rescue. Its basic structure looks like this: the keyword while followed by a condition. As long as the condition evaluates to a Boolean value, either twi, true, or false, it can be used. The computer checks whether condition A is true. If it is, it executes the indented code below, then checks the condition again. If it's still true, it executes the action again, repeating this process until the condition becomes false and the loop exits. If the condition after find_while is already false on the very first check, then the body of the loop will not run even once. Writing our sunset photo program with a find_while loop becomes very simple. The program keeps taking photos as long as the sky brightness is I greater than or equal to 500 and stops once it drops below 500. This example shows that when you don't know in advance when a condition will end, a while loop is more suitable than a for loop. That said, in many cases, for while loops and for loops can be converted into each other. For example, the following three programs all print every element in a list. The first one uses a simple and straightforward for loop. The second one combines a for loop with for range. When string is given only one value, the starting value defaults to phi0 and the ending value is that number. Here, the length of field list 1, in this case, is assigned the value phi0 and so on, up to field less than the length of field list 1. Since die0 is the index of the first element and the phi length -1 is the index of the last element, this program effectively prints all elements in the list. The third example uses a while loop. At the start, die is initialized to phi0. Since i0 is less than the length, the loop runs and prints the first element. Then die is incremented. The loop runs again, and the next element is printed. This continues until high becomes by equal to I the length of the list, at which point the condition I high than list 1 becomes false, and the loop exits. From these three examples, when both die_for and die_while loops are possible, the for loop is usually simpler, more intuitive, and requires fewer lines of code. Also, for loops are generally more dangerous than die_for loops. For example, if you forget to increment dabi, the program may enter an infinite loop because dabi stays at i0 and the die_while condition remains true forever. To sum up, for loops are more convenient when you know exactly what you're looping over or how many times to loop. For while, loops are more general, especially when you don't know how many iterations are needed. And now, it's practice time. We can use looper to write a calculator that computes the average of numbers entered by the user. The special feature of this calculator is that the user can input any number of values, and finally enter phi, the letter Q, to indicate they're done. Then the program calculates and displays the average. You can pause here and try to write it yourself first, then play the video again to see my reference code. First, let's have our calculator print, "Hey there, I'm an average calculator." Then we take input from the user. Please enter a number. And add a hint. After entering all your numbers, enter phi the letter Q at the finish. We also need to remember to assign the string returned by only input to a variable, otherwise we won't be able to use what the user typed. Now the question is, how do we keep getting input from the user until they enter phi the letter Q? This kind of scenario, doing something repeatedly until a condition becomes false, fits perfectly with the asterisk while loopy we can write. Should it be equal to equal, the letter Q, or not equal to EY, the letter Q? Think about it. We want to keep looping while the input is warnoted, the letter Q, so we should check first. Then inside the loop, we can get the user's next input by copying that and put the line here again. Let's run a quick test first. You'll see that as long as the input isn't the letter Q, the program keeps asking for more. If it is the letter Q, the loop ends and the program finishes. Now that we have the core loop logic, the next step is calculating the average. To compute the average, we need the sum by of the numbers and the sum by counter of numbers. Average IB equals sum by D divided by count A. So we can define a variable sum total to keep track of the sum and the sum by counter to track how many numbers were entered. Next, each time we get a valid input from the user, we should update both total and count on part. But where should this update happen? It should definitely be stored inside the for while loop. Otherwise, it would only run once. If we place it after the line that gets the user's new input, then the very first number entered won't be added. Also, if the user enters find the letter Q at that point, trying to add find the letter Q to total will crash the program. So let's put the update 1/4, asking for the next input. First, convert the user's input into a decimal number. Then add it to photo. This line can also be shortened. It means exactly the same as. Let's replace it with a simpler version. Similarly, so we'll use that simpler form too. Now the program can correctly accumulate the sum and count of all numbers entered. Next, we calculate the average. Just need to print it out. Print the average of the numbers you entered is result. But there's still a potential issue if the user enters C the letter QA right at the beginning. C total would be 0 and counter would also be 0. Then 0 divided by 0 is mathematically undefined. Python won't allow it and will throw an error. So we need to add a check if TOEI counter is v0. We can simply set v02 to 0. Otherwise, let's test it now. Enter a few numbers, then AV letter Q. You should see the correct average printed. Now try running it again and entering YD immediately. It should still print the correct average, 0 in this case. See you in the next video.